it's just really cool to reflect and to think of all the hard things that happened over the course of this 2-year span. But to know that, man, God took care of us. And
for anyone in a leadership position, the last year, even prior to a year, has probably been one of the most challenging environments, situations to lead. So in spite of all the stuff we had to navigate, all the stuff we got to do, we are bringing the one thing no one else is bringing to this earth, and that's hope in Jesus.
But the way that church has always operated was challenged in such a big way. Like, we gather in large groups and we hold services and all those things. And what do you mean? How does the church exist if we can't gather in a room together? And what was amazing is just how, through that, God still was glorified, and the church didn't come to a standstill. We continued to operate. People still loved Jesus and gathered and worshipped, and it just looked differently than what we're used to. But it didn't kill the church. It didn't slow the church down. It just forced us to rethink what it looks like to be the church, which was, I think, a really good thing.
So even prior to City Serve, I think back to Easter, and for me, that was like so cool because that was the first big gathering we had. I remember our 10 o'clock service. There was a second where I just was standing there and I looked around like, there's not more room to bring out chairs. And the team was hustling, trying to pull things out. And I was just like,
we haven't experienced that in a while.
Yes, I was just smiling and I'm taking it in like, man, I have been waiting to see people come back.
Seeing everything that we learned in Outposts and how the pursuit is amazing, and some people are perfectly happy to worship with 150 other people, and some people just aren't, and they really longed for and missed those outposts. And so to have a second campus that is smaller, that is more personal, has just given a place to those people. And we've seen people walk through the doors who might not have ever shown up at 20th Avenue, and I just feel so blessed to be a part of that second campus.
Hey, let's be clear. There's the third campus. Stand with me.
Sorry.
Yes, he's always getting what do I say? Step right.
We love
Okay, but you guys have done some really cool things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, it's kind of funny when I listen to you guys talk about Outposts. I'm like, now you guys get a taste of what we've been doing. But that being said, in Stanley, that we were really trying to do is do really outreach, and we did so many different things over there. And like this last year, whether it was City Serve over there where we had we put on a bike clinic and we gave away clothes to families in need, or even this last Halloween when we put on this Nerf and Treat family experience. We had over 500 people show up, and just being able to bless that community with different things that are good and wholesome. And when you're in a small town, sometimes there aren't a lot of opportunities for things. You have to go outside. So being able to offer that as a church, especially as a mobile church, to put stuff like that on, I think is so huge for those smaller communities.
And the first real experience that I had was experiencing Day of Hope. And that just touched my heart in ways that I don't think people that have been a part of the pursuit for so long and been around that don't really get. I got to watch that and talk about the radical generosity of, we don't really care what the needs are. We're just going to fill them, right? We're going to touch these people in ways that are going to affect them in a real and meaningful way. And it was just, it probably affected me more than it did those individuals, absolutely, because I looked at this and I said, this is what church is supposed to be like. And we talk about be the church. I got to watch it be lived out. It was just wonderful to see.
I think one of the coolest things too is in church in the last year, 2 years, all the traditional metrics that we've measured success by just got thrown out the window. Attendance, all those things. But what's crazy is we had one ministry in our church that was totally bucking the trend, which is our student ministry. It was mind-blowing when everybody else's church attendance was going down. Our student ministry was skyrocketing and reaching more and more students. It's so cool to see.
I mean, 2020 was a year we had to go online when schools went virtual, and that was a struggle. Obviously saw numbers dip because kids are on Zoom calls all day, and the last thing we want to do on Wednesday night is talk to a leader through a screen. But when we came back last fall, just seeing that desire and really struggling with kind of like a fight or flight response of what's the governor going to say, what are our meeting limits going to be, because the big church went to outposts, so what's that going to mean for us? But just having the ability to meet in person for every single week for the 2020-2021 school year was just huge.
Like at some point, everybody gets to the realization, like I need to be in church because I'm a part of church and I want to be a contributor, not just a consumer. And it's just a really cool reminder from those stories that's the case. That's the truth.
We were doing a worship night, and this young lady just came up to me and said, "I want to get baptized." And I know that Abby and her had been like connecting and just hadn't all worked out. And she's like, I don't know, I need to get baptized tonight. And we didn't plan on doing baptisms that night at all.
Lucky me, I didn't empty the tank.
Yeah. Thankfully, really we're not prepared. The tank is full. And so I just had a quick conversation with her, and it was clear, and that God really got hold of her heart, and that was the right next step. And so we got to have this spontaneous baptism in the worship night, and it just was like, amidst all the logistics and things of navigating this last year, really why we do it is to see people's lives impacted by Christ, and that was just like, that's what it's all about right there.
I mean, I think of all of the baptisms that we've had, and I have the honor of talking with people who do salvation responses, and some of these stories are hard and really rough stories, but to see their heart for God and to know that, there is something out there that is the healer of whatever they are going through. That never gets old, ever. So when we do the baptisms and hearing the stories over and over again, it's just so cool. I love it.
I think we've seen so many unchurched families coming to the pursuit, coming to church, just looking for church. And with that, looking for Jesus, looking for hope, looking for something that, like you were saying, the world just doesn't provide. And so through COVID, I think they were realizing the truth that is Jesus is what they need. And, we offer a place of worship. We offer a safe place for kids. We offer a place of growth. And I love that we're growing not in numbers, but we're growing in just people who are hungry to know God, to know and develop a relationship, because He is hope.
That's right. That's what I was gonna say. Like, I feel like over the last year and a half, just like the spiritual temperature's been rising, and it's been amazing, really amazing to see. Even like I mentioned out Stanley, like there are two things that popped in my head. One was from City Serve. We had a mom that showed up with two of the boys, and we were able to bless them with clothes for the summer. And her and her boyfriend and her boys, they all showed up to church that Sunday, and that was on a Saturday. So literally the next day they showed up, and there was a salvation call, and they both raised their hands, and it was such a powerful thing of like what you were just kind of talking about with Brittany about like their people are craving something, and especially the people that don't know Jesus, they're just like, I need something, or I show up, you lead the guy to the Lord that just kind of came in there. It's such a powerful thing, and
I love watching how much a part of it children have been in the last year, and maybe it's always been this way, but what I really noticed is, the kids that are sitting in the front row at church and making sure that they put in the prayer cards every week. And we have a little girl who brought her neighbor friend, and the first time this girl ever set foot in a church was our church, and she gave her life to Jesus with a connections member back. Like, we're changing family trees through children. That blows my mind.
Talk about a God moment. We had somebody from the church that donated a bed, He's like, okay, well, what are we going to do with the bed? And I kid you not, 2 days later, in walks a woman that is describing her situation and saying, I just moved into an apartment. I have literally nothing. I've got no place to sleep. And I'm like, man, here you go. It's like, God, I see you. I see you.
Can I say one more thing? I really feel like we would be remiss if we didn't bring up the rearview mirror sermon series. I feel like that was really important with everything that we've been through, that we go in health to put the past in the rearview mirror and leave it back there so that we can live out the fullness of what God has called us to in the future.